Hey guys, and we are back. So, hopefully, you enjoyed that meal and we get started. So, today we're talking about um, Transgender Day of Visibility, International Transgender Day of Disability, Visibility. So, let's get started with that. So, really quickly, why does this matter? This conversation matters because healthcare is oftentimes politicized and trans care is framed as something that is separate or controversial, but it exposes deeper systemic failures. So, what is transgender care? Transgender care can be anything from hormone therapy. It can be preventative care like prostate exams, pap smears, breast exams, and it can also be mental health care. So, the health disparities, according to the literature, um, individuals who are transgender, they experience delayed care due to discrimination, up to or yeah, more than 50% of individuals experience delayed care due to discrimination. And denial of services, approximately 29% experience a denial of services. And then there's just a high level of mistreatment. And this really does intersect with women's health because when you're talking about things like pap smears, when we put things into policy and we see that we do not have as much access to things like hormone therapies, it compromises both transgender as well as women's care and, to be honest, men's care. So, gender affirming care restrictions affect cis women, trans men, non binary individuals. And I really like this quote. It's from Dominique Jackson. And she says, "You will not tell me that you accept me. You will not tell me that you tolerate me. That is not your power. I take that from you. You will respect me for who I am." I thought that was amazing. And oftentimes you'll see that many individuals with transgender, because of lack of health care and access to mental health, they suffer traumas, higher rates of depression because of this, and anxiety, and that's driven by stigma, healthcare discrimination, and lack of access. And so there's a lot of bias which causes barriers in the healthcare system, including providers' lack of training. I know, especially for me, there was nothing in our training that discussed anything minimally pertaining to LGBTQ care. Like recently, I just realized that technically, pap smears and like cancer care, like you know, because of the surgeries, because of the chemotherapies, it can cause a woman to go into early menopause when they have, say, breast or ovarian cancer. And so those are still falling under gender affirming care. And oftentimes this can lead to misdiagnoses or dismissals of symptoms and care management. And you can call it there's a name for it, trans broken arm syndrome. And it's kind of similar if you've ever heard of what's it called? Like when individuals who are obese, they just assume that you have whatever you're dealing with at that moment. It's because of your obesity. Same thing for transgender. Everything is blamed on your identity and how you are treated. So let me go. According to Science Direct, this article discusses medical misattribution and invasive questioning. And these are colloquially known as trans broken arm syndrome. It's a form of medical discrimination faced by transgender and gender diverse patients, wherein a provider incorrectly assumes that a medical condition results from patient's gender identity or medical transition. This phenomenon may take one of two forms: the incorrect and explicit misattribution of gender identity or medical transition as being the cause of an acute complaint, or invasive and unnecessary questions regarding a patient's gender identity or gender transition status. So in this article, nearly 1/3 of participants reported experiencing GRMMIQ. Experiences were associated with outness to acute care providers and other types of gender-related discrimination in healthcare settings. Analysis of qualitative data revealed 4 primary themes: assumptions of disordered thinking and being, hyperfocus on aspects of medical transition, cultural ignorance and incompetence, and dismissiveness of the patient. And I think a lot of that stems from us carrying some of the history of being within the LGBTQ community and considering that a mental health defect as opposed to an identity. So from a global perspective, we'll see that countries with stronger, these countries tend to have stronger access, which are Canada, Netherlands, Thailand, but even those have been having issues. And then countries with restrictions, United States, parts of Latin America, and Eastern Europe. And currently, as it stands, especially in the United States, we're seeing various bills that are anti-trans, which is related to care, access to sports, such as transgender women athletes banned from female Olympic events by the new IOC policies. And then in India, we see that there's a transgender law facing backlash. as well as in Colorado, and the Supreme Court ruling against the ban on conversion therapy, which is ridiculous. So across the board, we're seeing a rollback in a lot of the policies that we had put in place to protect individuals who are transgender. We already know that they are disproportionately affected by things like domestic violence and various cancers and illnesses. So we want to make sure to keep them, safe, keep transgender individuals, safe as possible. Um, especially, and I think I've harped on this before, but um, Black trans women are disproportionately affected by domestic violence. So, what is the cost to us? There's lack of access to care can cause an increase in ER visits. Preventable conditions get worse because of prolonged care, higher healthcare costs, again, because of prolonged care. The longer you wait, the more severe it gets. And then less physicians. I think because you become disillusioned with the oath that you take and the policies and the barriers that are put in place to prevent you from doing your job, when you can't provide those services to all people and ensure that everybody that steps into your office or into your ER or into your hospital is safe and getting the top quality care, the gold standard of care, then you become disillusioned and you lose physicians, you lose nurses and healthcare professionals, because that's not why we went into healthcare in the first place. So, and as you can see, we already have very little. We're already at a deficit in terms of healthcare professionals because um, we are we don't have enough. Well, there's a lot of reasons. That's not what we're here for. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, we already have less healthcare professionals, so we need to be working to retain them, make them feel safe and empowered to practice and give the standard of care that they would like to give to their patients, all patients. So then when we talk about this, we have to look at the justice equity, which is something we are justice and health equity, and the autonomy and bodily integrity. As far as like self-determination and how that is aligning with the practices that are currently available. And just wanted to watch a few of these.
Right now, trans people are used as social and political scapegoats to distract from massive global and domestic issues. And this scapegoating is having real material effects on the lives of transgender individuals. It is more dangerous than ever to be trans as we lose access to healthcare, passports, and even our ability to drive. There are now 3 US states through which I consider it unsafe to travel as a trans person. This TDOV, I ask you to please talk to the people in your life about transgender issues. Defend us when we are portrayed as bogeymen and predators. We need our allies to stand strong with us as human beings, pursuing safe, happy, and healthy lives, so that we as a society can work on real, imminently threatening issues at hand instead of terrorizing innocent people. We need your help because Transgender Day of Visibility and our visibility is key.
So, just like Jack said, that we should make sure that we talk to our family members. I know my mom, even for me, sometimes, we get bogged down with terminology, and maybe that's something that I will take up because I've done another PowerPoint on that. But I think we get bogged down on terminology, and it's okay to ask questions, but be respectful. Um, Please make sure that you respect that person and how they identify. Um, and I actually had a conversation with someone a while back, and I was just like honest. I was like, you know what? I really have a hard time with they, right? Because like of the way we learn it in English, like it just, and sometimes I don't want to like say anything, so I get like overwhelmed because I'm like in my head, I'm trying to make sense of it. And I think for a lot of like older individuals, I'm not saying that I'm older. And I'm talking about my mom's age. Don't tell her I said that. Just kidding. Um, but wiser, I'll say wiser. You know, we did not have this expansion, or they did not have this expansion of like verbiage and explanations. And so it becomes a little bit more challenging in that way. Um, but it is okay, at least from the individuals that I've spoken to, my friends that I know, to ask questions out of um, a desire for knowledge, and um, just be cognizant. And it's okay to, I mean, especially for me, where I am trying to, I have like a set of rules in my mind sometimes. Um, I've talked to other friends who are like, sometimes it does take time to understand like these different um, aspects and avenues, and that's okay. But it's just like the disrespect that comes with it, that I've seen in practice, in person, and working with the transgender community, in, well, not in the US. Well, yeah, in the US too, but like even abroad, there are just not enough protective factors for individuals with who are transgender, um, especially when you're talking about exploitation. So, like, seek that knowledge so that you can be a solid ally. Um, and just be aware. I'll say this to individuals who are transgender: please be aware and cognizant of where you are, with who you're with. You know, people are treacherous, and with the administration that we're in right now, and this is just across the board. I don't know why there's a this sudden rollout or rollback of policies, but just be cognizant of yourself, protect yourself, and yeah, like find your crew, like especially if you're younger, find your people. I know it's easier said than done, and I know it can be scary at times and it can feel lonely at times. um I was actually watching a young, I'm not going to say, I don't know their pronouns, so I'll just say they were talking about transitioning and then detransitioning. And so if you make those decisions, be very cognizant, find someone that you trust to speak with, be very cognizant of um, what you take in to your body. Do not do anything that is not um, safe for yourself in terms of um, feeling the need to do something outside of the healthcare system that you feel like you can't trust, right? Because I don't want anyone to get desperate and do something not like very similar to like a back alley BBL type thing. Like just try and find trusted care providers, healthcare providers, um, that are knowledgeable, that can give you all of the information. Because one of the things that um, they were saying was that um, yes, there are, and I wish I had saved the video. There are um, there are things that now, when they were younger, they transitioned, and because they've transitioned and the changes in your hormones, there are things that they're going to have to be cognizant of going down the road. But they made a very good point that also there are things that people are doing now as kids that are putting their health at risk as well. So just making an informed decision is all I'm saying. Make an informed decision, understand what's going to happen down the road. Say when you're 30, when you're 50, when you're 60 or 70, there are a lot of cancers, and there are a lot of metabolic syndromes that are dependent and reliant on those hormones. So make sure that your healthcare provider can give you the utmost information. If you do not trust your provider, I will attach a few organizations that I know have really good information. And then I wanted to do the organization of Tuesday of the day, and that is the center. My friend recommended them. Let me share this. Hopefully you guys can see that. So the center is in Orlando. The programs they have, they have they have a senior program. They have groups, legal and immigration, a cyber center, a resource guide, and Pride Pantry, as well as a scholarship. They can host events and rentals as well. So, and they have a hotline. So if you want to volunteer there or you need testing, feel free to connect with them. And you can donate The quickest and most convenient approach is cash, if you'd prefer. And like I said, they provide comprehensive HIV testing, mental health counseling with case management, peer-led social and support groups, addiction recovery, food pantry, and housing stability case management. Then there is okay, well, I can't find it. The Metro Healthy Community. Oh yeah, that. And they provide quick prep, doxy PEP, and MPEP. They have rapid STI testing and free, fast HIV and Hep C testing. They also have groups, a faith-based community, psych, talk therapy, pediatric care, COVID-19, primary care, all the things. So those are two options if you are looking for information or community. Those are two options that I would say are pretty good starting points. I know the Trevor Project is another good one. And I will try and add a few other ones. But those are the two, those are the two organizations of the day. Let us see. I did have one more video and then we're going to wrap up, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me or, message me and we'll go from there.
On March 30th, the Indian government passed an amendment to its transgender protections law, first enacted in 2019. Supporters say the new amendment is meant to prevent protections for vulnerable groups from being exploited. But activists say the changes not only narrow who qualifies for protections and require medical proof of identity, but also actively excludes people, particularly trans men and those who identify as non-binary.
मुझे मेडिकलाइजेशन कराना पड़ेगा एक मजिस्ट्रेट या एक चीफ मेडिकल ऑफिसर मेरे पैंट में झांक के देखेगा मुझे नंगा देखेगा तो इस तरीके से आप ट्रांस मेन या ट्रांस वुमेन या नॉन बाइनरी को क्या कर रहे हैं आपको मतलब इसमें ये बहुत शर्म की बात है.
Despite backlash from opposition, Parliament moved quickly to pass the bill, claiming legal definitions were too vague and should only protect individuals who they say are the most in need. The amendment also introduces harsher penalties for quote-unquote forcing someone to identify as transgender.
A teacher or a school supporting a gender non-conforming child to dress in the uniform that they are comfortable with can get covered under this provision. That's the level to which this provision is broad, vague, and going to criminalize everyone here.
Activists warn this could be turned against the very community it claims to protect.
It's a rolling back of entitlements, benefits, protections. Are we supposed to keep fighting our entire life? When are we supposed to start living?
We are legal. We exist here.
So that is happening in India, and I saw something else in Africa, but I can't recall the actual story, so I'll leave it there. Again, if you guys have any questions, if you guys need help with anything, if anybody has a personal thing they need to talk about, please feel free to reach out to me no matter what state you're in, and I will locate information for you. All right. And again, happy International Transgender Day of Visibility to all my transgender girlies, gals, gwals. I love you. I love you. I love you. Please stay safe. I am praying for you, and I'm giving you all the light and love in this time. All right. Bye.